Good evening, everybody. I'm Master Police Officer Tim Brook. I work for the town of Bedford. It's been a while since we've had these online and in-person community meetings. This is the first, I hope, of many. We're going to try to get together every second Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. If you've got any concerns that you want to make known to the police department that are obviously not emergent issues, feel free to come in, share any good news you have about the community. But as far as tonight's agenda goes, I'm going to talk about some of the traffic stats that we have in town, and two particular traffic issues for you that I'd like to address a little bit more in detail is the requirement to stop for a stopped school bus and the forfeiture of right-of-way when you exceed the speed limit. I'm also going to go over some community resources for if anybody's unaware of the tremendous amount of resources that this community has. Anybody who has any kind of traffic concerns can ask a question. I've got one citizen here with us tonight, Mr. Dwight Evans, and then finally I will follow up with telling you where you can find these community resources. With that being said, this month's stats. The police department, and this is just the stats that I, as a traffic safety officer, am interested in. The police department does publish a monthly roll-up of these stats as well on our Facebook page, so be sure to stay well connected to the police department's Facebook page. In the month of August, there were 956 calls for service. Related to traffic, there were only 219 traffic stops and 60 summonses issued. There were 23 traffic crashes, that's including both private property crashes and crashes in the street. I'd like to caveat the number of traffic stops versus summonses to also let the listening community know that I was on vacation for the first 3 weeks of August, and the reason why as a traffic safety officer, my primary concern is the second leading cause of death, the second leading preventable cause of death in the state of Virginia is traffic crashes. The leading cause is drug overdoses, followed by traffic crashes. In 2021, we exceeded 1,000 deaths on the highways of Virginia. Let that sink in. So, if you are not afraid of getting a speeding ticket from a police officer, and you're not afraid of hurting another citizen, I want to also let you know that your cars will tell on you. We have ways of figuring out how fast you were going pre-crash, and then we'll talk about the legal ramifications behind that. So there were a lot of crashes. There were some traffic stops. There were very few summonses issued, and I will be watching for trends throughout the rest of the year. What I hope to see is that the traffic stop numbers go up, the summons numbers go up, and that the traffic crashes go down. That is the task and purpose of traffic safety. All right, let's talk about school buses. So last school season, I personally witnessed 6 times a vehicle pass a stopped school bus that had its emergency equipment activated. This is a big deal. If you don't know it's a big deal, it's a big deal. If I think a lot of people assume that they only have to stop for a stopped school bus if it's one direction in each way. If it's 4 lanes, if it's 6 lanes, it doesn't matter. If there's no positive barrier between the lines of traffic, traffic in all directions of a stopped school bus have to stop. Violation of this code section is a misdemeanor offense. You could potentially go to jail for it. On the highway, private road, or school driveway for the purpose of taking on or discharging children, elderly individuals, or individuals with mental or physical disabilities, and shall remain stopped until all individuals are clear of the highway, private road, or school driveway, and the bus puts to motion. Any individual violating foregoing is guilty of reckless driving. Once again, this is not just a parking ticket. The driver of the vehicle, however, need not stop when approaching a school bus if the bus is stopped on a road that is divided, a divided highway, on an access road, or a driveway when the other roadway, access road, or driveway is separated from the roadway in which he is driving by a physical barrier or an unpaved area. The driver also need not stop when approaching a school bus which is loading or discharging proper passengers from or onto a property immediately adjacent to school, and this should be in capitals, if the driver is directed by law enforcement or a crossing guard to pass the school bus. This section shall apply to all buses that are equipped with warning devices as prescribed by 46-1090 and are painted yellow with the word school bus in black 8-inch letters on the front and rear of these buses. I'll skip down to the evidence. Evidence that a school bus was stopped with at least one warning device activated shall be considered prima facie evidence that the bus was stopped for the purpose of taking on or discharging children, elderly individuals, individuals with mental or physical disabilities. So when I've stopped a couple of vehicles for this, and the driver explains to me, hey, Officer Brooke, the school bus did not have its stop sign fully deployed. Let that sink in. I got a bus that stopped in the roadway. It's got its red flashers on. It starts with the amber flashers on that, and then it moves to the red flashers. And the driver tells me I didn't stop because the stop sign on the side of the bus wasn't fully deployed. Nowhere in the code section does it talk about the stop sign. The elements I'm looking for: a stopped bus and its emergency equipment activated. I take school bus safety very seriously, and I hope everybody else does. So if and the other thing is it's not like when I was a kid when there was one bus stop on a road. I've watched school buses go from house to house to house, and it seems that they're separated by less than 50 yards. So in the morning when it's school bus time, that bus is going to stop over and over and over. And in the evening when it's school bus time, that bus is going to stop over and over and over. Don't exceed the speed limit. You should be able to, even if the bus is stopped at the crest of a hill or on the downslope of a hill, you should be able to see the bus if you're going the speed limit. All right, I want to talk about another thing related to crashes. Mr. Evans, did I get too preachy? Did I get too preachy about school buses? Okay, good. I'm just trying to drive home an important point. Here's another important point, and it's directly related to traffic crashes. It's for those following along at home. It's governed by Code of Virginia 46.2-823. It's probably the most simple piece of law I have ever read. The driver of any vehicle traveling at an unlawful speed shall forfeit the right-of-way which he may have had otherwise under this article. So what does that mean, Officer Brooke? What that means is if you're speeding and somebody pulls out in front of you, and we can prove that you were going faster than the posted speed limit, you no longer have the right of way. Not saying you're wrong, just saying you don't have the right of way. And so if I find out that you were going faster than the posted speed limit, I may not summons any party involved in the crash and say, let your insurance folks figure it out. Because a lot of people ask me, well, how fast can you go over the speed limit before you'll get stopped? Don't worry about that. Worry about somebody pulling out of their driveway when you're going 30 and a 25. Worry about somebody not stopping for a stop sign when you're going 40 and a 25. If you're going 25 and a 25, you probably would be able to react to the other bad drivers on the road and thus avoiding the crash. Or if you're in a crash and you were doing the speed limit, then too easy. We'll find fault with the person who failed to yield right away. All right, there's a lot of resources in this community. I wanted to highlight them because if you know anybody who is housing insecure or food insecure, this is a good community to be in. St. John's is sponsoring a summer outreach of the warming shelter with the participation of the Presbyterian Church, where the ministry is called Shower and Suds. It's going to be open on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, and then Thursday evenings from 4 to 8. So Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 2, Thursdays from 4 to 8 until this winter. Also be mindful that the Christmas station, they're probably getting ready to have a big sale as they're hitting home stretch toward going out and buying all the new stuff for the people who are going to be eligible to shop for Christmas. That is a wonderful ministry. Also, the name, you wouldn't know it from the name, but the Christmas station also has food resources. Bedford Christian Ministries has food resources and household resources. The Shepherd's Table is a wonderful feeding program. St. John's Episcopal Church also sponsors a drive-through, walk-through meal. You have to go behind St. John's. St. John's on North Bridge Street. You have to go behind the church and then just tell them how many meals you'd like. Church of God has a wonderful, on East Main Street, they have a wonderful food ministry on Thursdays. But you have to contact Church of God as far as what the requirements for it are. I understand it's a fairly low bar. Mr. Evans, do you have any traffic concerns you'd like to talk about or ask about? Yeah, no, I'm just, so I'm going to repeat your question.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you mentioned something about anyway, back when you were talking about school bus stoppage. I've called one in this morning. I witnessed one last week on Oakwood Street. Anyway, you did mention on the sentence down here when you was reading the code, it said, and then you go to this sentence down here, it said, the driver of the vehicle also need to stop and approach a school bus which is loaded and discharging passengers from on or onto property immediate adjacent to school. If the driver is directed by law enforcement officer or other duty authorized uniform crossing guard to pass the school bus. Okay? That's right. Yeah. Standard of the stop sign. All right. According to the code, you mentioned the code. There is a code for crossing guard. 46.2834.
All right, Mr. Evans is.
Want me to read that to you?
I would like you. Would you mind stepping up here? Mr. Evans is talking about the code section governing crossing guards, and I remember when Rushi was on Burksville, but if you stand right,
Anyway, this
I
is,
used to write that summons a lot.
okay, crossing guard code 46.28-832. Uniformed crossing guards may control traffic at marked school crossings, whether such crossing is at an intersection or other location. Uniformed crossing guards who are supplied by the local school divisions with handheld stop signs shall use such signs whenever controlling traffic as authorized subject. So that carries the same fine, correct?
Yes. Well, and
As in running a school bus stop sign. That is my question.
I don't know if it's a.
Is it the same fine?
I don't know if it's a reckless driving offense. Can I see your code section, please?
So if it's reckless driving or just running a stop sign?
I think it's just, it's governed under, this is just from memory, but when I would observe the crossing guards, it was similar to failure to stop for a, similar to failure to stop for a stop sign. It was not a reckless offense.
It was not a
It
school
was,
bus.
it was not, yes, a school bus is a reckless, passing and stop school bus. Failure to obey the hand sign of a crossing guard is merely a traffic offense. Sir, do you
Make a note and check with the,
And
check the code sections and check with the judges and how it can enforce, and we can readdress that next time.
thank you. And another question I had,
Yes, sir.
60 summons, how many of those were DUIs in the town?
And I will refer you to the Facebook page, but I can guarantee you nobody was released on summons for DUI.
Okay.
I would bet my next paycheck nobody's been released on the summons for DUI. And
So you don't know how many of those were DUIs?
I do not.
Okay.
But let me make a note.
Yeah,
I'll
people
add,
ask me all the time.
I'll add DUI into my
Thank you.
into my October brief. So, not hearing any more traffic questions. I'm going to encourage everybody to go to the town website. I know that the police department's website and the police department's Facebook, I know that they do a good job at publishing the chief's report, where he talks about some of the more high profile incidents in a little bit more detail than I'm familiar with. Okay, so let's go into covenant that we're not going to stop school buses if they have their emergency equipment activated, no matter how many times it stops in front of you. Let's just face it, if you're trying to get down Longwood Avenue in the afternoon and you got a bus in front of you, you might want to consider just staying on 460 until you get to Independence if you're heading back to Forest. And that's probably, or if you're heading out Big Island Highway, or if you're heading out Forest Road. I also want to ask people to be mindful not to block other people's driveways. It is against the law to block entrance to private property. So, and the law authorizes the police to have vehicles towed. Sir, anything you'd like to add to the September briefing?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Stephen Swain. I am the Division Commander of Professional Standards. I think the only thing I would add at this time is I would encourage you to do, as Officer Brooke has previously mentioned, we make sure that we put out these stats monthly. The question regarding the DUIs from Mr. Evans is a very good question. That stuff is all published monthly on our Facebook page, along with other crime stats if you're interested in that. And what we will do in the future is make sure that we have those numbers for you in case those questions come up live and in person, so we can answer them right then. But the classic fallback, if we are unable to answer a crime stat question for you, is always going to be to call in and we will share with you what we can, or watch for those monthly briefs where that stuff is all released to the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, I'm Master Police Officer Tim Brook. I'm your traffic safety officer. I take traffic safety very seriously. But for tonight, I just want to say, be the community, be together, BPD.